All right, good morning, friends. This is Dennis Miracle. Today I'm going to be making a purse that I am calling Caged Hearts. Caged Hearts. So, as usual, as is my custom, I have already uh, sewn out step one, which is an outline of the bag and the outline of the area where to put your zipper. So we'll start with placing our zipper, and this is a number 3 zipper. It is an inch wide and I don't know, 14, 15 inches long. It's long enough to go past the boundaries on each side. And so as you can see there, it's plenty big enough. So take your zipper, and I do advise that you do use a number 3 zipper that is not metal. So this is a plastic, or I forget what the word is, but anyhow, take your number 3 zipper and place it right between this top line and this line here. It should fit perfectly if it's an inch wide. And let's go ahead and tape it down. I tape it at the top, the bottom, and a little piece right on the edge, about in the middle, just on the edge of the zipper. So that's that. And now we're going to take it to the sewing machine or the embroidery machine, and it will then sew down this zipper, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and you probably can't tell, but this has been sewn down because I am using orange thread, so it's very difficult to see. So let's turn the hoop over to the back side, and we'll take our first piece of lining fabric, which is going to be this pretty blue, put it pretty side down or right side facing down, and put it the edge of the fabric right at the edge, right at this. I'm going to call these number 4 line. You've got the top line 1, 2, 3, and 4. Put it right at the edge of the number 4 line. Make sure it's centered evenly across, and tape it down. All right, now let it just fall over to the front as it does naturally when you lift it up, and take it and I'm trying to make sure I'm in the camera. Take it and fold it. I've got a little cut here, but I don't think that'll make any difference, hopefully. Fold it over a couple times and tape it here to the frame of the hoop, because we won't need it for quite a number of steps. And then take your front piece of fabric, and which is going to be this pretty purple promo vinyl I got from Joann's, and take and place it face down at the same area right against the edge of the bottom of the zipper. Now we can see the zipper on the front, of course, and tape it down. Alrighty, and I'll stick this into the embroidery machine, and it will sew a line of stitches right about a 1/4 inch above the edge here. Actually, it's going to sew right on this line. Well, you can't see it anyhow, but it's this line that tacked down the zipper right here, right below the zipper where my finger's pointing. Okay, let me take that to the machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and you can see that the front piece of vinyl has been sewn down, but always check the back to make sure that, yes, this is fine also, because I have had it where something had happened and it didn't stitch down maybe, half the side or something, but it's fine. So now take a piece of your batting, whatever you're using for batting, and this is a 6x10 design for the 6x10 hoop, and I cut my fabric. I cut all the fabric and the batting and lining pieces 7x11, with the exception that the piece of batting I'm going to place right now needs to be 6x11. So it needs to be just a little bit shorter, since it's already underneath the zipper here. And of course, do you think I remembered to cut that extra inch off? Of course not. So it is a slightly bit on the joining device. I'll have to look at this and make sure it's going to be okay, but it shouldn't be there. If it were cut an extra inch off, it wouldn't be there. But so let me take and pull down this piece of vinyl, and just use my hands to kind of give it a crease. Normally I would be ironing at this point, but of course that's not possible with vinyl. So I'm going to put this back in the embroidery machine, and it's going to sew this down on all four sides, right underneath the zipper here. Excuse me. Excuse me. And all around the four sides, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and this has been sewn down, as you can see. And now we're going to start doing all of our beautiful stitching on the front. There are 4 rope lines and 3 rows, yes, 3 rows of the hearts. So I'm going to start right now with that, and there's about probably 8 or 9. I put them all in separate steps, in case you might want to do 2, 1, all of them, none of them, some. I wanted to do that because I didn't want you to be locked into having all of these things in one step and having to try to stop the machine. So I wanted to give you the choice instead of me, and let you make it your design. So let me get started on that, and I'll show you after each of the either row of hearts sews, or the row sews out. So I'll be back in just a moment. Alrighty, I have just completed sewing the very first row of hearts down the center, and I'm going to now do 2 rows. I don't want to change the thread to the alternate color. I'm going to do 2 rows of the rows of rope, and they're going to be on the side here, according to my little diagram I've made. So there'll be 1 on each side, and they'll be orange. So let me take care of these other 2 orange pieces before I start using the violet color to do the rest. So I'll be back. All right, I'm finally back. This is really just so beautiful. I want to point out one thing. On the rope rows, the 4 rope rows, there is, after every main rope that the machine sews, there is another step right behind this step, which is an outline of each of these little pieces of the rope. And I did not run that. In the past, I've changed color to accent, and it's really beautiful, but I just decided not to run that at this point. There are 19 steps if you do all of these parts, and almost 24,000 stitches. So there are a lot of stitches, but I think it's worthwhile, because it really is a beautiful, purse. So the next thing that's going to be run, we're drawing down to a close here. It's going to run a line of stitches, satin stitches right along this line here to kind of cover, to kind of, I don't know, finish it off, you might say. And that's optional. Of course, everything is optional, basically. But I'm going to run that, and it will cover a little bit of the top of each of these and see how that looks. So I'll be back momentarily. Okay, that is finished. It was just I just had a small 2 millimeter satin stitch. I just wanted something small to go up here at the top for an accent. And so that's done, and we're almost done completely. So now what we need to do is finally release this lining fabric and let it fall to the back like so. And let me see, am I recording? Yes, I am. And remove these pieces of tape on the side and pull this down where it's taut and tape it. And you can see I have a cut here. However, I can see that it's going to be past the stitch line, so it's not going to be inside the bag, which I hope would be the way it would work out. So anyhow, let me put this back in the embroidery machine. It's going to do the same thing it did on an earlier step. It goes around all 4 sides, and this will tack down the lining. So be right back. And I actually meant to change colors back to the orange because the stitching goes through the middle of the satin stitches, and I wanted that to be an accent, but I forgot. So that's that. The next thing we're going to do is remove the tape from the side. Well, let's look on the back and make sure. Yes, it did. It sewed it down beautifully. Let's remove this piece of tape here on the side that originally held everything, held the zipper down. Let's open the zipper at least 2/3 to 3/4 of the way, and let's put our these particular ones are not made out of the vinyl. These are grosgrain ribbon cut 3 inches long by the width, which I think is maybe 5/8 of an inch, or maybe 1/2 an inch. And I'm going to use this column here, and I'm going to use this stitch line here as a reference point as far as putting the top of the key ring here against it, and then I'm going to center the key ring on this column of rope. So let me tape this down at the top here, and also tape it here on the metal so it doesn't find itself somewhere it shouldn't be. And there's 1, and then 2. So I'm using the center of this rope, and I'm using this top line of stitching in violet color, I guess you'd call that, as a reference point. All right, so we've got that all taped down. That should be fine. The zipper's open, which is extremely important. We need to take whatever we're going to put on the back, which I'm just going to put the same vinyl on the back, and whatever you're going to put it face down. And if it's directional and you're looking at it, and from this, you're looking at it as it looks this way, if it had birds or something on it and they were in the proper orientation, this is the way you would want to make sure that it appeared on the back of the bag. So you would just flip it over this way to make sure it stayed in that same orientation and didn't turn out that your birds were upside down. but I don't have to worry with solid colors. That's a nice thing about solid colors. So make sure and place this piece of fabric or vinyl about 1/4 inch above your zipper, which it is right there. And then take your last piece of batting and place your batting on top of it, and then smooth it down with your hands. And my sewing machine is just right here beside me, so I'm going to carefully move this without jostling it, so it should be okay. And I'm going to run the next step, which would be step number 18 of 19. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, you can see that this has been sewn down on all sides, and now we're going to turn it over, the last step, and we're going to take and place our last piece of lining face down here on this piece of lining, if I can grab it here. Okay, and we're going to make sure though that it is, as before with the front, that it's at least 1/4 inch this direction, I'll call it north, of the zipper. So let me do that, place that right there. And I've also got some other cuts, and this cut is just going to be right at the line, the stitch line down here. So I think it'll be okay. And so there you have that. And let's tape it down on all 4 corners. And this will be the last step. And then we'll be taking it out of the hoop. I don't know how I made all these cuts. I should have been more careful when I was cutting something else. Anyhow, I think it's going to work out fine. So let me put this in the machine and run this last step. And what it'll do is it'll leave this an area here, a gap here, to reach through and turn the purse. So I'll be right back. All right, we're finished, and you can't tell much from the front here, but turning it over to the back, you can see we've left, or it has left an area for turning the bag. So the next thing we do is remove the purse from the hoop, set these pieces aside. Okay, and then take our scissors, and I cut from the lining side so I can see what I'm doing. I start on this side, the right side, and I take and cut at an angle right here, and then I swing my scissors and then start up the side of the purse about 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch from the stitch line. And it seems to always miss part of it, so we're going around the bend here. Oh no, I got all that. And okay, we come to the other side, and then I stop right there where the stitching ends and come in at this angle and cut and hope that it falls off, which it's not. So all right. Now let's clean up all this mess, throw it in the trash. Okay. And now what we want to do is we're looking at our lining now. Got the first piece of lining, second piece of lining, and you want to take the rest of this and as close as you can get without going into any stitches, remove this rest of this at the bottom, which is just junk now. Okay, I got real close there, I think. And I think I'll keep this piece. It's good for making my little joiners for the crossbody straps. All right, now what we need to do is turn the bag out the first time. makes it hard when it's all vinyl. But it will get out there eventually. Okay. All right. Now, I should have had my iron on, but I didn't. Typical me. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to let the iron warm up, and then I'm going to give it a little quick press here, just kind of to make the, let me cut off some of these little pieces of thread, just kind of make it a little more pliable. Since it is vinyl, it's pretty stiff, and it'll make it easier to do the next turn. But we've got to close up this area here. But let me see, I'm not gonna keep you staring here. Let me get the, let's see if it's hot enough. And just do it very quickly. Okay, it's hot. Okay. All right. Now take this shorter piece and fold it inside like I'm doing, and take and run your iron over it and give it a good crease. And this piece there, okay. And then take the longer piece and fold it inside, and these tabs, push them back where they go back in that direction. This one's kind of ruined on that side, but I'm going to tuck it in anyhow and sew it up. Okay. All right, now get your iron and give it a press. Okay, now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine. I'm going to run a line of stitches exactly where these are and close the bag up. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, now I'm back from the sewing machine, and let me remove these little threads here on both sides. So the bag is all closed up, and let's take and we have to remove this. My stabilizer is a paper towel, so whatever stabilizer you have, remove it at this point. And let me grab something to get it going here. Ow, my nails, I don't have any nails. There, that just pulls right off, and I won't take the time to take all these other pieces off, but anyhow, so let's reach and open our bag as far as we can. Okay, and let's grab these pieces of tape that we put in here to hold everything down, or to hold the metal parts down. And there's one over here, I know, somewhere. I can hear it. Where are you? Okay. There you are. Okay. Now let's turn the bag out. And it is stiff. Let me give it a little bit of steam. That'll soften it up a bit. That helped a little bit. Of course, it was almost out of water, so it didn't do much, but take your hands and massage this into place, mold it into where you want it, how it should be. Let me see, let me cut that off. Cut that off. All right, just turn it here like it should be. Push this out and shut the, okay, it's not going down in there enough. Okay, now shut it. Well, it's still not going down there enough. There we are. Okay, now I'm going to take my old wash rag that's Clorox stained and put it over this, and I'm going to give it a going over with. Don't hesitate with the iron. Okay. Oh, now that feels nice and soft. And the same thing with the back. Alrighty. Alright. Nice and soft now. Okay. Alrighty. I think we've got it done. I think it looks beautiful. This is the Caged Hearts bag, and I hope you've enjoyed watching me make it this morning early. It's just now, well, it's about 8:30. I hope you've enjoyed watching me, and if you choose to obtain the pattern, I hope you'll make something beautiful for yourself or your friends and family. And as I always do, I personally thank everyone who has been encouraging me and supporting me, because without that I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. So thank you all. Have a great, it's a Saturday morning, have a great weekend, and I'll be back in a day or two with another pattern and another tutorial. So thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.